How are you doing, Team Astro? How's life going? Is everything going well? Good. If not, don't worry, sit down and watch our video. Hopefully it'll cheer you up. Today we're gonna be talking about a Reddit thread where people snap at their bully. So get ready and strap yourselves and let's go for a ride. People who have snapped on a bully at school, what's your story? 5th grade, this dude who always picked on me was kicking my seat in assembly, and I was having a terrible week and this was my last straw. I punched him in the face, but I wasn't satisfied with the first punch because it felt weak, so I figured I'm already going to be in trouble, so I went back for a second better punch that felt worth getting in trouble over. Also, this was a dare assembly, which was about saying no to drugs and violence, so I basically learned nothing. My second in France, like 15 years old, bully decided to sit next to me in class, repeatedly whispered insults to me, and at one point I snapped, took his head and bashed it into the desk. I think I would have been in deep shit had his textbook not been there. Needless to say, I got kicked out of that class and had to change English group. 6th grade. A few days before end of school year. Beat his ass and didn't stop even with teachers saying so. The bully stopped, but I was sick and tired of his shit. Lucky me, I didn't have to come in for those remaining 3 days. Best of all was that my parents were on my side. My daughter was being bothered by 3 boys in junior high. She was kind of busty for her age and they kept bumping into her, and trying to look down her shirt, etc. She asked them time and again to stop, but they kept on. One day at lunch, her younger brother, a grade lower, got angry and beat the living shit out of all 3 boys, right there in the lunchroom. He was suspended for a week, but I was so damn proud of him. I went to the school and gave them an ugly piece of my mind. I wasn't nice either. Pissed me off, but I supported his actions 125%. I was being bullied for like a month when I was 13 or 14. Some guy from my class started messing with me, pushing, hair grabbing, neck slapping, stuff like that, and I didn't know how to handle it. One of his friends from another class, a guy I had never spoken to before, tried it once and I instinctively punched him in the face. Bullying stopped. If that random guy didn't do what he did, I don't know how I would have put an end to it, to be honest. In 4th grade, this kid named Nick used to punch me every day at recess. I went home one day crying about it, and my dad told me to punch him back. So the next day when Nick came around to punch me, I whipped around and just beat the snot out of him. Absolutely wailed on him. One of the teachers noticed and took us to the principal's office and we got off with warnings. After that, Nick never punched me again, but would make sure I could get to the front of the line for the drinking fountain and picked me first for any sports game he was team captain for. I was 7 and I was a nice kid with average grades, and this one bully that was taller than me. He used to be any typical bully, like, trip you on your lunch, and push your head for no apparent reason. I was getting annoyed that I felt the red heat go all over my body. I looked at him and told him to stop. I looked at him, he pushes me to the ground. I stopped and kicked his tables, and punched his nose with all my force. His nose started to bleed and I was sent to the office. My mom had this thing where if they started it, then she'll pretend that she's mad at me at school and come home saying congrats. I had been bullied all year long by this guy and it was the last week of 8th or 9th grade. Comes up to me and says something about my clothes or something and I just saw red. I turned around and hit him with a palm strike to the face. The bottom of my hand connected right under his nose. He doubled over and I bolted. I heard later his lip got stuck in his braces and he had to go to the doctor to fix it. I got a stern talking to about not hitting people, although my teachers were aware of the verbal bullying. I didn't snap at a bully, but I did snap at a teacher who didn't do anything no matter how many times I told her I was being bullied. All my bullies, their parents were on the parent council, they got funding for field trips and things like that, so the kids were basically untouchable. I yelled at the teacher telling her what they have done to me, things like taking my school supplies, excluding me from activities, calling me names and throwing things at me, along with other things. I told him how I was sick and tired of being blamed, that it was my fault I had no friends when every single bully told people to avoid me. They invented this thing called the Katie touch. Like the cheese touch, but you could get the Katie touch if you talked to me. And I finished it by telling her that she was stupid and was too worried about losing school funding that she didn't care what happened to her students. No one backed me up and nothing changed. I got a 3-day in-school suspension and the bullying got worse. Kids would take my lunch and shoes, so I'd get in trouble for not wearing my indoor shoes, and I passed out one time from hunger and dehydration from not eating. I hated that school and am so glad I went to a junior high that didn't have anyone else there from my old elementary. To all teachers, Just because a kid is always playing by themselves, it doesn't mean they like it that way. Also, if a kid tells you they are being bullied, then do something about it. I smashed a kid across the face with a stapler because he hit me all the time and I got tired of it. I was in 7th grade. Didn't get caught. Couple of bullies liked to do monkey in the middle with me. Didn't take me long to figure out the solution was to simply tackle one of the bullies and start punching. I was severely bullied from my earliest memory all the way through high school. The times I remember snapping were these. 3rd grade, we were putting the chairs upside down onto the desks at the end of the day and this kid kept pushing my chair and pushing me. I turned around and shoved him as hard as I could with both hands and he fell onto the desk behind him. The chair fell off, he fell off onto the chair, and I got in trouble. 4th grade, at some Boy Scout thing and there were sodas. I got one out of the cooler and a kid who bullied me a lot grabbed it out of my hand and walked away. I grabbed another one and threw it at the back of his head. Got in trouble, of course. 7th or 8th grade, after being bullied incessantly, I lost it and was crying and screaming and punching the lockers and got in trouble for denting a couple of them. 9th or 10th grade, while on the bus, one of the bullies grabbed my comb out of my back pocket. He'd messed with me a lot. Rather than punching, for some reason I used my open hand to slap him really hard on top of his head. He was seated and I was standing in the aisle. He complained of his neck hurting from it and I got in trouble. Between each of these instances, I'd put up with constant bullying every day and do nothing and no teachers gave a shit. Bullies got away with bullying all the time, but even if I simply said leave me alone with a loud voice, I was in trouble. It never made sense to me. In 5th grade I saw the girl who bullied me getting picked on. Her mom died due to health complications and someone was saying she died because she was too fat. Even though she picked on me every day, I still stuck up for her. She didn't thank me or anything. But I think after I did that she was a little nicer to me. A group of boys thought it was hilarious to keep our football and stop us from getting it back after it rolled towards them on the school field. They kept passing it between themselves and picking it up and trying to keep it away from us. After trying for about a minute to get the ball from them by running after it, one of them picked the ball up and kept moving it away trying to keep it out of my reach. I took a few steps back, no longer interested in trying to not hurt them, and did a goal kick on the ball. I kicked his hand in the process and the ball smacked him in the face and gave him a bloody nose. He didn't even try to react, he just turned and walked away with his tail between his legs. 5th grade. Can't remember what specifically caused me to snap, but after spending the last 5 years being continually harassed, bullied, and assaulted by a specific boy, I'd had enough. I calmly walked to the mounted pencil sharpener at the back of the class and sharpened my pencil to a very fine tip. Then, I walked behind said bully, and in a downward motion slashed him across the entirety of his back in one fluid motion. Obviously, I got a truckload of shit for what I did. Principal insinuated to my mother that the parents of the other boy may want to press charges for my harming of their pride and joy. My mother, bless her heart, retorted back, if that's the case, perhaps I should press charges considering how often my son has been coming home with cuts, bruises and welts administered at their boys' hands without repercussions from your staff. The principal moonwalked out of that conversation so fucking fast. I still was read the riot act at home, though. Got drilled into me that what I did was use a weapon to harm someone, and that it would never be tolerated at any level. Grounded for a very, very long time. Bully gave me space, for a while anyway. Went back to his usual torment after a couple weeks, minus any physical contact. This was in 7th grade, I think. I threw a shoe at him in a change room. He was just picking on some random kid and I just had enough of his shit, and I completely missed him, and hit the guy that he was picking on right in the face. Everyone froze for a second and then burst out into laughter, and the guy who was being picked on started crying, and I felt really bad because I meant to hit the bully. Shoes are hard to throw accurately, okay? I tried to tell him that it was for the bully, and I guess I calmed him down a little bit, also by apologizing profusely. After the incident, the mood in the change room was lightened and everyone started being more chill with each other, so I guess it was a success. Lol. Thanks for watching Team Astro. Did you love the video? What was your favorite part? If you've ever been bullied, I am sorry. Bullying is a serious issue that needs to be stopped. If you'd like to share your experience, let us know down in the comments section. Alright, if you've not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to our channel and be a part of Team Astro. Consider liking and sharing the video. Bye.